Hello everyone, thanks for stopping back again. This episode is going to cover the aprons, cutting the cross sections in them so I can interchange those or intermix them, whatever you want to call it. And then I'm going to dry fit the table after that. Make sure everything sits together properly before we proceed with final sanding and gluing up. So hopefully this will be a little bit shorter video for you. I appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with me, and we'll get started here shortly. So I finally have the legs done, and I'm on to the aprons next. The next thing I'm going to do is to cut out a slot for the two aprons to be able to intercross into each other and be set down into the top of the table legs. So I'm going to do that with the dado blade. I'm going to have to get some measurements on how thick the boards are so I cut the correct width and get it marked precisely where I want it. So let's get started with that next. So what I've done here was taken out my dado blade and took a number of chippers and shims and lay them on the table here. And I kind of put my board down, lay everything so I know this is a true flat surface. And what I'm looking to do is to get as close as I can without going higher than the wood with my dado blade stack. The dado blade I use is a DeWalt DW7670, which I've had a lot of good luck with using this dado blade. The chippers are 4-blade chippers, and they really cut a clean dado in most of the wood I've used it in. And I think I picked it up for maybe just slightly over $100. It's been several years now. But anyway, so I've got this to where I want it. I'm going to install it in a table saw. And as always, I have a practice piece here that I'll cut first to make sure the thickness is what I'm looking to get. And once it is, then I'll cut it in my final pieces here. Well, I want to explain what I have going on here. I've got my test piece here, which I cut numerous times to get the right width that I want to cross here to fit onto the aprons. And I'm going to set this up as a stop block because I know exactly when I bring the boards here where I want the cuts made in the board. I want to have the legs in about 3 inches. And so I'm going to set this up as a stop block, and then I'll butt up against it and run it through the dado blade. The second thing I wanted to make sure is that I had the height of the blade correct. And what I did with that was I kept tweaking this side until let me find my measurements here. Until I came on like this, I drew a pencil line, brought it in from the other side, and that's centered on my board. So I know that the depth of the blade is going to cut exactly center on the board, which is what I wanted. Prior to that, I did set up the dado blade and ran some test piece through here. As you can see, I've got several cuts. And I didn't film that, but what I was doing was I was adding and removing shims to get it to the exact width that I wanted. And once I got that set, which was this larger cut here, the two boards now, when I interchange them, are going to fit exactly on each other. So I'll get this set up and we'll get cutting on the boards. Well, here we are with the aprons and the legs dry fitted together. I did have to add a shim or two to the dado blades to get those aprons to fit into each other. So I just went 5/1000ths of an inch at a time until I got the fit that I was looking for. Let me show you it with the top on it. And here's the table with the top just setting on it for now. I'm going to trim those aprons just a little bit. They're a little bit too close to the edge of the top for my liking. So I'm going to trim off the ends, maybe a 1/2 inch. And I'm thinking about putting them at an angle. All right, so finally we got this thing dry fitted and sitting here. Hopefully this video wasn't too long for you. Next steps will be a final sanding on everything and to get some finish on this. And then glue up the legs and the aprons. And for the table, I'm going to put some table clips underneath from the aprons to the table. Allow the table to move a little bit because it will move with the humidity and the change of the seasons. And so we'll get that one going next. Hopefully you like this series, and next step you'll see is me putting some finish on here. And I'm probably going to go with armor seal. I've used that before and I really like it. So we'll see you on the next video. Thanks much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.